You may be wondering, Gabby, weren't you just complaining that it was summer? Weren't you just complaining how hot it was? And now I see you wearing a hoodie. First of all, I need to defend myself by saying it is nighttime, first of all. It was a cooler day today. Hashtag June gloom. Third of all, this is my boyfriend's hoodie and it brings me comfort and joy, so don't come for me. Okay, let's begin the video. Welcome to Gab and Gabs. Okay, obviously you can tell by the title, we are doing the mid-year book freakout tag. That's the one. I actually have never filmed this tag. I started BookTube last summer, but I started when this tag had already died down and like nobody cared. Except me. So I just decided not to do it, but now I'm filming actually in June, and I wanted to wait until the very end of June just in case I finished another book, which I ended up doing, so I'm kind of glad I waited. And second of all, I was also kind of unsure if I should do it because let's be real. If you're new to my channel, you may not know this, but I'm a very slow reader, and this is kind of a reason why I always feel a little self-conscious making BookTube videos, because I've literally read, wait for it, 15 books this year. Now, for a lot of people, that's like so minimal. Like, people read 15 books in 1 month. Cool for them, love that, wish I could be like them, but unfortunately that's just not, I don't read as fast. So 15 is actually really good. Last year I only read 17 books, so 15 is kind of phenomenal for me personally. So I figure, you know what, I have enough books, I can do this tag, and I want to, and it looks fun, and I just want to be where the people are, aka this tag. So let's just get into it. Yet again, please check my description below. I'm gonna have links to articles, petitions, other people's videos you should be watching, and I will continue to do that. Just know that. So every time, check my description. And yeah, honestly, I'm so excited to do this tag. Like, I've been practicing, and by practicing I mean like what I say is my answer, you know, because I just love giving my opinion. If you couldn't tell, that's why I've made a BookTube channel. Okay, so here we go. The first question, we start off with a bang, is what was your favorite book that you read this year? So far, hands down, it's, drum roll please, Little Fires Everywhere by Listening. I read this in February for my book club's book pick. We read this right before the television show on Hulu came out. I had purchased this book last summer, didn't know anything about it, but just saw the cover, liked it, and it's, I don't know, from the cover alone it seemed interesting. Dumb, because don't judge a book by its cover, but didn't know anything. I wasn't super excited to honestly read it for book club. I was like, I'm unsure of how this is gonna go, but honestly I'm so happy that we chose this. I don't want to give a synopsis because I went into this blind, and I personally think that's the best way to go into it. If you've already seen the show, you know what it's about, but it is different, so just wanted to let you know. But I couldn't put this book down. It's a little slow in the beginning, I 1000% admit. It takes a while to get in, but it's setting everything up, so once you do really get into the story, it's a page turner. I felt myself like staying up later even though I had work the next day to finish it. So definitely recommend. 5 stars out of 5 stars. Loved this one. Best sequel. Here's the thing, guys. Haven't read a sequel this year. Currently reading one. I'm actually reading, this may be a shock if you've been on my channel. I'm reading Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. This is a shock because I don't read fantasy. Fantasy is a genre that I struggle with and I have a hard time with. But every year I try to go a little bit out of my comfort zone. So I started to read the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So I finished book 1 and I'm on book 2, but I have not finished it, so I couldn't put it in I couldn't put it in for this particular one. But yes, I'm reading this, so I'll let you know if I liked it, but this is the sequel I'm reading. But other than that, I've been reading standalone, so I haven't read any sequels. Hey, you didn't ask, but I told you. Okay. New release you haven't read. Yet again, here's another backstory. Maybe this is why I didn't do the tag last year, because it's just a bunch of backstory that nobody cares about. Here's the thing. I actually read a lot of backlist. If you haven't picked up on that, I don't read new releases. A lot of that's because I started getting back into reading in late 2018, so I kind of feel like I'm behind on a lot of popular books, or there's books I'd wanted to read beforehand that I just kind of can't keep up. So to be honest, I'm not the most savvy when it comes to what's new coming out or what's gonna be released this year, so just keep that in mind. But there is 2 on my radar that I do want to read. Okay, the first one is The Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is the Hunger Games prequel. I read the Hunger Games trilogy back in high school. I actually own them all on my Kindle, but I haven't read them in so many years. Although, let me just say, for the record, Catching Fire is the superior book out of the 3, and I will not be taking any comments from that. Thank you. Okay, but I haven't read them in so long that I feel like I need to reread the trilogy to get excited for it, so it's on my radar. I eventually want to get to it, but the one I'm going to prioritize, honestly, and I hopefully will have an image here, is the Chiffon Chronicles by Andre Talley. The Chiffon Trenches! Oh my gosh! Don't know what this book is about. It's a memoir. Andre used to be one of the editors at Vogue. You may recognize him. He's a really big part of fashion, but it's his kind of story about how he started in fashion with Andy Warhol, and obviously his time at Vogue with Anna Wintour and how their relationship kind of soured. I love a memoir, and I've always admired him, so this book literally is fresh off the presses, just came out recently, but that's on my radar. My most anticipated book for the second half of the year. I'm gonna be honest and say it's Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. Embarrassing as it is, I remember liking Twilight so much when I was in middle school. I actually only read the books all the way through one time. I didn't own any of the books. They were my cousin's, and my cousin let me borrow them, and I actually never finished reading all of them. I got to Eclipse, and I never read The Second Short Life. I didn't read that novella, and I didn't read Breaking Dawn. Never got to it. And then The Life and Death that came out, never read that either. So I've been kind of doing a reread. I reread Twilight for the first time since I was 12, and yeah, but look, I'm still excited. I do want to read from Edward's perspective. Call it nostalgia, call it what you will. But I'm sad to talk about this next one. The biggest disappointment. Mind you, biggest disappointment doesn't necessarily mean that it was the worst book you read. It was something that you had hyped, you thought it was going to turn out really good, and it didn't. You know, this can apply to a lot of things in life, honestly. A lot of things, especially in 2020. But my biggest disappointment this year was for sure Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I think I hauled this book in one of my earlier hauls, and so you could see my excitement about how much I was looking forward to reading this book. If you don't know what this book is about, it's about 2 sisters that come from a long line of witches, and one sister wants to be completely normal while the other one just wants to be free and fall in love and do her own thing. And many years later, the sisters reunite because one sister gets in a heap of trouble and they're back in each other's lives and things happen. I don't want to reveal too much, but if this sounds familiar to you, it was made into the classic, beautiful, amazing, just like all around chef's kiss of a film in the 90s with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. If you have HBO Max right now, if you're watching this when this comes out, it's currently on that streaming platform, so I recommend. I love that movie so much. I realized, I was like, oh, this is a book, I could read the book. Bought it at Barnes & Noble when Barnes & Noble was having a sale, and I was just waiting for the right time to read it. I finally convinced my book club to vote for it, so that we could read it. And I was so excited. I read it I thought I was like, yeah, like I read it like right away, and it was just like the worst. You know when you think you want something and then you have it and you're like, I don't want it no more? Just even thinking about it, you know, I'm just like upset. Okay, the reason I was disappointed was because the book and the movie are like really nothing alike. They share character names and like some of the plot's the same, but like it's just not. The book doesn't have chapters. It's broken into like 4 or 5 sections. And the transitions between characters is really hard to like read because all of a sudden it like switched the narrative. Like all of a sudden you're in one person's perspective and then it switches and you're like, wait, what just happened? I'm not sure anything else could beat the disappointment from that book. But we'll see. We've got a whole nother half a year to go. I was surprised about how deep, emotional, and how honest she got throughout these essays, and it's really pertinent to what's going on now. I loved her perspective. I really liked it. So if you're looking for a memoir, if you're looking, or especially an audiobook, I recommend that one. But it was a big surprise. I didn't expect to love it the way that I did. So that one's a really good one. Recommend 1000%. Read it. Fictional crush. Y'all, I don't have any. Favorite character? You know, he's better than Alina, to be honest. Okay. Now, overall, I liked it. I didn't love the book, but the ending just was so gut-wrenching. If you haven't read it, it's different. I guess it's different from the film version, so I don't want to ruin it. But the ending just got me in the feels. I mean, I wasn't sobbing, but a couple tears ran down. I'm not gonna lie to you. This was a good book with a good ending. the most beautiful book that I bought this year. Right here is like a little building. I can't see it really well, but it's a building in here, and then just that. But I think the cover is absolutely gorgeous. I'm a sucker for a constellation, I think, but I think it just looks really pretty. So I have not ever read a romance book, so I would like to change that. I want this to be the year I read romance, so I have purchased Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. Oh, I'm so excited. The sequel just came out to this. I think it's Get a Clue, Dani Brown, and rave reviews all around for this series, so I think this is the one to start it with. This is about a girl who decides that she wants to live her life, and she makes a list of things that she wants to do, and I believe she gets the help of this guy named Red, and romance ensues. But I'm excited. I'm glad that if I'm going to start romance, this is the one I'm going to start with. So this is definitely something I'm excited to get to this year. And the next one, I'm prioritizing it because this is a booktube darling, and I've had this the same amount of time I've had Little Fires Everywhere, so hopefully I like it. This is actually going to be a book club pick in August for my book club. This is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Daisy Jones and the Six was my favorite book of last year, so I just never got around to reading this one. I feel like every time I hear people talk about it, they just talk about this as if it's like God's gift to earth. So, you know, if you don't know, if you haven't heard of this book, it's about a woman named Evelyn Hugo that was a famous actress in the Hollywood Golden Age, and she kind of tells her life story and why she got married so many times. It's like Elizabeth Taylor vibes, it gives me, and I love that era of Hollywood, so I don't know why I've just put off this book so much, but now we are making it a priority. I'm obviously going to try to finish the Grishaverse, so I'm going to do the Shadow and Bone trilogy and do the Six of Crows duology here, because the show's going to come out, I think, the end of this year or the beginning of next year. That's something. And also, I want to do a quick shout out to Retta's book, So Close to Being the Shit Y'all Don't Even Know. I'm actually doing a Parks and Recreation rewatch. I've only watched the show through all the way one time, so I'm on season 6 now. This is my second time, and I'm loving it. And I realized that Retta has a book that I could read. I love Retta so much. She's so funny. She's obviously been in other projects, but she had a book, so I have the book. I bought it physically because there's pictures in it. I think I also might do the audiobook and like read along with it, but I want to prioritize that. But I'm waiting until after I finish Parks and Recs in its entirety, plus the reunion special they had, and then I'm gonna get to that as like my special treat to like get me over the Parks and Rec like sadness when it's over. But yeah, so those are the ones I am prioritizing, and that's that. That's it. That's all I have to say. That was a lot of books, and actually that was kind of fun to talk about all the books. I love reading. I will be back with a book haul next, and that'll be the last book haul for a while, goodness gracious. But it's a bigger book haul, and that's because it's like my birthday plus like quarantine purchases, so like just keep that in mind. And it's like my spring book haul, whatever. But anyway, yeah, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing great. Please, yet again, go check the description box. There's going to be some good things for you to check out there. And hi, my name is Gab and Gabs. It was nice talking with you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.